What is happening to our young Christians today? The enemy has perfected his tactics, employing subtle but powerful methods to ensnare them. What is most alarming is that many churches, instead of focusing on the salvation of souls, are using strategies designed to simply entertain young people. This brings us to a crucial question. Do our young people really know God, or are they just being entertained? The imminent danger faced by young people who live under deception, being dragged towards damnation. They do not know God, but are entertained with a false gospel and false hope. There is no doubt that a new generation is emerging. Some consider it the generation that will conquer the world for Christ, while others see it as a superficial generation, even calling it Generation Z. What is indisputable, however, is that our church-going youth are facing a significant challenge. They have a different perspective of the gospel, one that often deviates from the fundamental teachings of the faith. Instead of a deep, life-changing commitment to Christ, many are drawn to a watered-down gospel that places more emphasis on convenience and popular culture than on biblical truth. The danger is that by adopting this superficial view, they may fall into a false hope that leads them to believe that simply attending church or participating in social activities is sufficient for their salvation. In this context, the church becomes a social club rather than a place of encounter with God and a space for spiritual transformation. This mentality could lead to a fragile faith, unable to withstand the trials and challenges to come. It is crucial that as a church we return to the roots of the gospel, guiding our young people towards an authentic and solid understanding of the Christian faith, so that they can experience true and lasting salvation. Now, the Bible reveals to us a historical fact that calls our attention. Let us read the book of Judges chapter 2, verse 10. And all that generation also was gathered to their fathers. And there arose another generation after them, who did not know Jehovah, nor yet the work that he had done for Israel. The cycle of spiritual decline and renewal began with the death of the generation that had conquered the promised land, giving way to the emergence of a new generation of Israelites. This new generation turned away from the righteous dedication of their parents and, as a result, became estranged from a personal relationship with the Lord. This phenomenon is a significant reminder of how, after the death of a faithful generation, another emerged that did not know God or the works he had done for Israel. This historical fact can be contrasted with contemporary reality. Just as in the time of Judges, today we are seeing how a new generation of young people is developing without a true knowledge of God or His Word. In this context, spiritual truths and teachings of previous generations are perceived as obsolete or outdated. The problem arises from the fact that many churches have transformed their focus from discipleship to the pursuit of entertainment, which diverts young people from the true gospel. This situation poses serious challenges for the transmission of faith and spiritual formation today, highlighting the urgency of a renewed focus on the education and discipleship of young people within the church. In fact, this is where the deviation of young people arises due to the false doctrines that many pastors and teachers present in order to retain the youth. This has given rise to a completely distorted gospel. Today, social media and the news media are flooded with these erroneous teachings. For this reason, Jesus' warning in Matthew chapter 7, verse 15 is crucial. Beware of false prophets who come to you in sheep's clothing, but inwardly they are ravenous wolves. In places where the strict demands of true discipleship are taught, false prophets arise who advocate the wide gate and the easy way. These individuals dilute the truth and simplify the demands of the gospel. For this reason, we can see many permissive preachers leading young people to align themselves with the world and succumb to the pleasures of the flesh, fostering the idea that those who question his teachings are simply legalists. They do not want to hear the word of God, they want a substitute. One pastor has said, "Young people want religious entertainment from religious entertainers to entertain them." A man who simply opens the Bible and begins to speak of biblical principles, of what we should or should not do, how we should or should not live, is shouted out by all, "legalist," and is rejected, while superficial religious preachers become famous. Dear listener, it is very dangerous to be in a congregation where the preacher simplifies the message of the gospel and reduces it to something superficial, without demanding from his listeners a life of holiness and separation from the world. This is why the fatal consequences of following a false teacher are so great. Now, many churches have adopted entertainment as their main strategy to attract young people, influenced by the teachings of false teachers. Some churches claim that our young people like reggaeton and that they should be allowed to follow trends. It is said that they do not like prayer and fasting, and that is why we do not require them to participate. Also, there are those who argue that we should not speak to them firmly because they might leave, and that this is because there is no love. In this context, many young people adopt worldly dress and attitudes, moving away from Christian values and, consequently, from their relationship with God. The Apostle Paul's warning in 2 Timothy chapter 4, verses 3 and 4 becomes a beacon of light in this context. For the time will come when people will not endure sound doctrine, but according to their own desires they will heap up for themselves teachers, because they have itching ears, and they will turn away their ears from the truth and be turned aside to fables.